Welcome to the Counselor Overview for managing the report options for the patient report. We'll begin by showing how to modify these options within a patient visit. Then we'll show how to do so from the administrative level. So we'll start here within the patient visit screen in the patient report tab. We'll scroll down to the area that says report options and then select edit options. Like you may have seen with the professional report, this gives you a whole array of different choices you can review and decide upon, basically as to what you wish to have shown on the final patient report. Now in this case, it would only change the settings for this specific patient encounter. As I mentioned in a bit, we'll show you how to change this at the administration level so you can set your defaults. Okay, so right away this brought up to show the provider email, and several other options. One area I want to highlight right away is display audiogram. This is where you can decide how that familiar sounds audiogram is going to look and behave. So you can change the size. You can go from medium to large. You can switch if you want to have right to left or right left. You can, probably most importantly, change the look and feel of the familiar sounds audiogram. So you could say, hey, all I want is color background and degrees of loss. Or you know what, I want this combination, or I don't want the color at all. Maybe I just want to have this, right? So you can go through and decide whatever it is that you wish to have for this specific patient encounter, right? Once you've made your selection, of course, go ahead and click close. In general, of course, you make any of the changes and click save. And that's an important note here. If you make any changes to this area, you do want to click save to lock in those changes, and then you will see your PDF update with those new changes. Before we get to that, let's look at a couple more of these other areas. Things you can kind of look through at your own pace here, but if you, for example, wish to have the patient portal instructions in place, so if you intend to activate the patient portal for this patient, you can automatically have a statement on there explaining to the patient how to proceed with activating their patient portal, right? This information can also be provided via email. So if you want to email links, directions and a link out to activating the patient portal, you can do that for a patient as well. But this lets you add it directly to the patient counseling summary. Or if you say, no, we're not going to activate it for this patient, well then, sure, take that off. Okay. It's important to note, while this isn't exactly related to report options, there is the ability to note if you want to activate the patient portal from here as well. So I'm sorry, to show if this patient report will show up in the portal, is what I'm intending to say. So if you click here, you're saying, hey, for this encounter, I want the patient report to automatically show in their portal. So if you are going to have this one, you typically, oftentimes, would have this one checked as well. But just depends on your overall approach. Okay. Of course, you can change the title of the report if you wish, font size, margins, right? You can play around with this, and then once again, click save. Once you've done that, you can bring back open the PDF to see the updated document. Now this, of course, will have your logo and your information, so this is all customized for you, but we can see the patient's info, we can see all the customizations that you made regarding what's displayed on here, color scheme, and all those type of things, and you go from there, okay? Let's see here. Let's go back to this patient's profile, or the patient visit screen. So that's how you modify the different settings at the patient visit level, right? So right here, if we say, hey, let's step back for a moment, let's set up our defaults, right? So it always behaves in a certain way. Well, then you want to go to administration, the top menu bar, and then select report options. Now this would be customizable for each staff member, right? So if you have multiple providers, for example, each provider will want to go in and set their own preferences here, okay? But same areas we saw before. You can change the title, the font size, margin. You could set your standard view for the report. One consideration here, for example, is if you routinely print and hand this out, you may or may not want this in color, right? You might say this looks vibrant and great in color, or I don't want to print in color. I'd rather do it in something that maybe doesn't use quite as much color, right? So you get rid of the color background. Ultimately, if you're faxing this, you may want to test a fax to see how it looks to find out what combination you feel most effectively faxes to the patient or to whoever, to the physician or whoever you're sending it to. Okay, so just some considerations there. But once again, you can go through the options, decide what you like, what you don't like, make any changes, and you go ahead and once again click save, and that will then lock in those changes. So any patient visits you have going forward will automatically assume the settings that you have here. Okay, of course, if you have any questions about how to set up your default options for the patient report options, or at the patient visit level, please give us a call, email us, live chat us. We are always happy to help. Thank you for joining us for the tutorial on managing the patient report options.